we doing, everybody? It's Jimmy King with WrestleLaunch here, and this is your Collision review. I am way behind. We had Collision on Thursday, and it's Saturday, like literally day one of WrestleMania. So we're a little behind, so we're just going to jump right into it. We start the evening off with Adam Copeland coming down to the ring. He has what most people call a huge shiner. I just call it a black eye because he literally just got into a battle at Dynasty. And he says that things aren't over between he with Christian Cage and FTR because they are literally only scratching the surface. And naturally, the top guys decide that they're going to come out on the ramp with Stokely, and that is only a distraction for Roppongi Vice to come in and kind of get their, I guess you say, receipt for what ended up happening in the locker room of FTR recently. After we have Roppongi Vice come in, we do end up seeing the Young Bucks come in and make the save for everything, and right from there we go to Jack Perry, who has issued an open challenge to anyone in the Don Callis family for next week in Portland, Oregon for his national title. We then go on to see the Young Bucks, who are already in the ring, go up against the Rascals, which is actually going to be Myron Reed and Zachary Wentz because Dez had a match last night, or well, Wednesday night, you know what I mean? They end up getting the win with the Meltzer driver, which I started to realize that they have not been saying too much on commentary. Curious as to why. But anyway, we move on from there. We see the healthy members of the Dogs, David Finlay and Clark Connors, come in and attack both teams after the match. There was a moment there where it kind of looked like they weren't going to go after the Rascals, but then they definitely went after the Rascals. They got on the mic and they basically put the tag division on notice and saying that even though they lost their trios titles and even though Gabe Kidd is on the bench, that does not mean that they don't still want gold. Speaking of gold, we move on to the AEW Women's Tag Team Champions, and they have a video package about the Divine Dominion, and it's set in ancient Greece. And basically they're just showing you that they are two bad bitches and they are not going to be defeated very easily. I wouldn't want to mess with them at all. Moving from there, we see the new AEW Trio Champs coming out, the Conglomeration, which is Orange Cassidy. We then see the Conglomeration go through, which is Orange Cassidy, Roddy Strong, and the returning Kyle O'Reilly when he won that at Dynasty. They are going up against the Lethal Twist, which is Blake Christian, Shotty Lee Johnson, and Jay Lethal. I must admit I'm a huge Jay Lethal fan. I actually am a decent fan of Blake Christian. I'm starting to I'm liking Lee. He's okay. I feel like he needs to stand out on his own to be able to become a proper competitor in my mind. We end up seeing a good back and forth between everybody in this match. Blake Christian and Orange Cassidy do Orange Cassidy's kicks back and forth, and we actually see Orange Cassidy be the one that ends up super kicking like most people would. You know, they do the kicks and then all of a sudden they get the super kick in on Orange Cassidy, but this time it's Orange Cassidy who picks up the pace. We see actually at one point in time, I need to try to see if I can find a picture of it, but if I can't find a picture of it, I'm going to describe this. You have the ropes, turnbuckles. Blake Christian has this, I don't even know how he came, I know he came up with it, but at the end of the day, I don't even know where this got into this man's mind, but most people will dive between the ropes. I'm sorry about my daughter's play toy in the background, but most people will just dive between the ropes at people, but this man will run along the ring on the outside and dive between the second and low turnbuckle rope, or you know what I mean, the turnbuckle, where it comes to hold the rope, so between the post and the turnbuckle pad, he jumps between that and he hits people with that. We actually see them come very, very close to the win, but it's Kyle O'Reilly with an ankle lock on Shotty Lee Johnson for the win, so that is a very good thing to see. They're giving the Conglomeration an opportunity to do something, especially with Kyle O'Reilly, who is continuing on that submission trend. I want to see him continue that since he has tapped out Mox with that, so if we continue with that trend, I'm going to be a very happy person. We have a weird backstage segment where we see Mr. Hook, or whoever you want to put him as, Sending Hook, whoever, he's Taz's son. He's the leader of the Ops now, and he's talking to Shibata, who is, I'm assuming, supposed to be the one with the camera, and they have Anthony Bowens walk in, and Anthony Bowens basically just says, am I in or am I out? And Hook says, you'll find out next week. The most classic of wrestling tropes is the most annoying of wrestling tropes in that sense. I understand that you're trying to build for next week, but no one cares about the Ops, man. There's some people who probably care a little bit because Shibata is getting some time and Hook's getting some time. But at the end of the day, I'm sorry, I don't like the Ops. I like Shibata. I like Hook. I like Samoa Joe. You guys seen me on this page before with Samoa Joe shirts. But at the end of the day, they don't need to do this. They don't need to have this goofy little group. Because I understand when you have veterans that go with somebody that's new in the business or newer in the business, it's supposed to give that person the rub and give them more advantage. Well, I'm sorry, but Taz's son doesn't need rub. He just needs to do his own thing. But I'm not going to go any further. We end up seeing Chris Statlander and Hikaru Shida go up against Big Ann and Danica Del Rouge, I think is her name. I didn't catch that one, but it's what it sounded like. We do see Statlander and Shida wrestling very well together. It's weird, though, to me, because it's just all of a sudden they're teaming up together, and Shida's acting weird. Let's put it that way. Shida's just acting very, very weird. We end up going on from there. Stat gets the win with Thursday. Usually Saturday Night Theater Fever, but it's Thursday. But she gets the win with that, and they end up getting... It would be kind of unfortunate if they did get the loss there. But Big Ann, I'll give her credit. That lady was all over the ring at one point. I do appreciate that even though sometimes these are what is the proverbial squash match, they do give these wrestlers an opportunity to get some offense in and to showcase what they're able to do, because, you know, obviously selling is a big part of what wrestling is, but actually being able to get your moves off and show how you would go about performing them and performing them correctly in your mind is another proponent that shows people, hey, this guy can go, or this girl can go, or this person can go. So, moving on, we do see Jon Moxley going up against Nick Wayne in a Continental title eliminator match. Not that I don't like Nick Wayne, I don't understand how he was gone from July until just like maybe a month ago in ROH and he didn't get stripped of the title. You guys are going to hear me go on about that all the time. I'm sorry, but yes. I will give Mox a lot of credit here. He does give a lot of offense for Nick Wayne so that you can see some selling by Mox. This match goes on for almost 15 minutes. Which there's a 20-minute time limit on these eliminator matches, and Wayne does not end up getting the win here, but there is still, you can see a little bit of a respect thing from Mox from this match. So I look forward to seeing what they do with Nick Wayne. I just want them to explain why he wasn't taken, or why he didn't take the title away. You know, like he's the ROH TV champion, whatever the hell it's called, right? And he gets injured in July, and they don't bring in an interim champion, or, you know, have him forfeit the title. Like, Kyle Fletcher just hurt his foot and he had to forfeit the TNT title. So, like, is it just because it's ROH? We end up seeing Don Callis and Kazuchika Okada backstage, and they are talking about the fact that Okada and Takeshita have started to really not get along. Although I want to say they haven't gotten along for a long time, and it's finally the culmination of what they are doing. They have said that they want a match. I want to assume that they're going to do that at Double or Nothing, because it's not really something that they just want to have in a throwaway episode of Dynamite. But it does seem like Takeshita wants a shot at Okada's international title, and it is said Don Callis does tell him he does not need to do it. He does, you know, he can do whatever he wants. Don Callis can make it work. But Okada says that he wants it. He does want to take the chance. And unlike Takeshita, he's a champion, and that is why he wants to go for it. So I think that's an interesting aspect between these two. These guys have been going back and forth quite a bit. And then, honestly, we see the match of the night, in my opinion. One of my favorite gimmicks currently in professional wrestling is the Blackheart Lio Rush. Wow. If you guys get an opportunity today, please, I'm going to try to see if I can't link it in this video. I'm going to try to find it somewhere. I'm going to try to link it if I can. Just go and search PAC, PAC, just literally PAC, like think of Tupac, but just PAC versus Lio Rush, Lio Rush. Get an opportunity to go watch that match. Lio really gets to show the universe what his Blackheart gimmick is all about. He spends the first like 2 minutes of the match just like sitting in the turnbuckle talking to himself, and I don't know, it's honestly really good. PAC plays off a very good kind of scared gimmick to his credit, because he's not a very scared person, but he does play this off like, what is going on? There's a few just interesting moments in this match where you see Lio Rush really, he no-sells a few moments. He actually does some really creepy things. He does like a weird backbend thing, and there's actually a moment where he's chasing PAC around the ring, and he passes Danny Garcia, who came out with PAC, and Lio Rush stops, turns, and goes right after Danny. And he just jumps on him like a zombie, like they would in like The Walking Dead or something. Like, it's honestly the most interesting gimmick that is currently being done in AEW, so I want everyone to just go check it out. Even if that type of thing is not your type of thing, go check it out. Just show the man his appreciation, or at the very least, show PAC his appreciation, or the appreciation, give him his flowers, because he deserves a medal for how he played that last night. Very well done. Lio Rush loses to PAC via submission with a smile on his face. So I'm kind of curious to see what we end up seeing that. We do see a vignette from Bandito talking about being the most wanted. It's an Old West hype video, but it's to have been done in like the winter time, so I want to say that one's some old footage. We do see a classic party match: Brody King, Mystico, and Mascara Dorada versus Ricky Gibson, Bull Rivera, and Casey Riff. I will say I know this Casey Riff dude. Seen him a few times. He can do some good work. There is a interesting attires in this match, but it's like I said, it's a classic party match. But Brody King, Mystico, and Dorada get the win here. We go on. We see an interview between with Shida and Statlander, and it's interrupted by Mina Shirakawa, who seems to be insinuating that it was Shida who attacked Toni Storm because she found her kendo stick nearby. Wouldn't be surprised because of the way that they're playing things as of late, but I really want to say they can pull a good trigger here. If they do with Shida, they really should pull that trigger with Shida because she is just one of the top stars, in my opinion, when it comes to professional wrestling. It doesn't matter if it's men's, women's, Americans, Japanese, Mexicans, whatever. It doesn't matter. You have a great professional wrestler. Hikaru Shida is one of them. We then have our main event, which is Tekla and Alex Windsor. They went after each other here. There's a couple times, I even mentioned it when I was talking with Sponge last night or the other night when we were doing our Dynasty and early Dynamite review, how they were going after each other and they were trying to take each other's heads off. There's a point in the match where you can literally hear the slap of face against skin. It's not them just slapping their thigh. At the end of the day, though, Tekla gets the win with a stomp. She ends up using brass knuckles, though, to soften Windsor up a bit. So I really want to see this continue to go somewhere with Tekla. She is the current top heel women's champion in the division, so I want to end up seeing what they can do with this. Although I want to make sure that she does get some natural wins and it's not always cheating. I don't want to always see that because I want to see some real creativity for these people because MJF has got some creativity with how he does some things. I know a lot of people are critical of him, but we'll get to that. Also, we are told on this episode of Collision that next week on Dynamite we will hear from the new AEW World Champion, Darby Allin. That has been your expedited Collision review. I have been Jimmy King with WrestleLaunch. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment and let us know what you think, what you want to see, and what you think. Because we like to make sure that this is part of a discussion. It's not just us thinking that people want to hear what we have to say. We want to know what you think as well because that's part of wrestling. It is a discussion. It is multiple people getting together and enjoying a product. I'm getting out of here. Again, this has been your Collision review. I will be doing an Impact review, and I'm sure everybody will be watching WrestleMania over the next few days, and there will be conversation about that too, I'm sure. But as always, my 4 simple rules: stay safe, stay sane, stay healthy, and above all else, just love professional wrestling. Guys, have a good one.